With every passing kilometre, the trees are getting bigger. With a $3 million price tag, this is one load you don't want to damage.
It's probably about a foot diameter tree branch there that would break things. Yeah, I'll just crawl up to it, mate.
In Adelaide, oversized specialist Mark Cromwell is under a shed load of pressure.
Yeah, lift up, Doug. I knew this was going to be a pain.
He needs to get this mammoth 50-ton electrical switch room loaded onto his trailer.
Are we nearly ready, Doug?
You're nearly ready.
I'm getting impatient. I want this to happen.
But getting in the way,
The shit design.
poorly designed bolt heads threatening to puncture this $1.5 million load.
They put big bolts hanging out the base frame, so we can't just dump it on the trailer. We can't afford anything to go wrong here today.
For Mark and his team, it's one more stress on an already demanding contract. Delivering this heavy, expensive and fragile switch room into the middle of nowhere.
Logistically, the most remote mine site in Australia. To get there is extremely difficult.
And Mark's deadline can't budge.
This client, more than anyone I've ever dealt with, are just push, 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 numbers, dates, hit targets.
The last leg of the journey takes Mark up the notoriously rough Tanami track, putting his body and truck under extreme strain.
Mechanical failure is the big thing here. The trailer's got to go over so many corrugations. If something breaks down, you're not going to get fixed up on the Tanami track in any great hurry. You're up.
Right now, Mark's most pressing concern is getting the switch room loaded in one piece and on time.
We have to leave. We're all permitted and we can only leave tomorrow morning at sunrise.
Miss his permit window and Mark could be delayed for days.
Nothing's ever easy.
I've only ever put one hole through a floor before. That was another great design. Who's the jack operator? We want to go down. Just listen for cracks. You want to watch the backs there, we go. That should be right. It'll just touch the little bolt heads. That's all right.
With the load finally on, Mark's feeling positive.
Tomorrow, bring your good clothes because we're not getting dirty. Nothing goes wrong. You right, Matt? We just don't want any mistakes today. We just want it to go smooth.
Mark's first hurdle. Make it safely through a city of 1.3 million people and its early morning road users.
It won't be long before we see the mammals all out and about. Mammal, that's a middle-aged man in Lycra. Have I given him a metre, Matt?
Yeah, you're giving him 3 metres, I think.
Always pays to be safe.
He's cleared the city, but overhead, worrying signs.
So in this schedule, there is 0 fat.
If these clouds open up, it could be a disaster on the unsealed roads ahead.
We got rain on dirt roads that we need to go on, and they'll actually go there and shut that road, so we could actually get stuck in Port Augusta. We've just got to pray that it doesn't rain. Yeah, we're on the dirt now, so we've got about an hour of doing about 15 to 20 k's an hour.
The electrical switch room he's carrying is big in every respect. 5.5 metres wide by 16 metres long and worth $1.5 million. But out here, there's always someone bigger.
Now we're going to run into another wide load.
This $3 million mining truck is 6.5 metres wide. Getting past will be a close call.
I'll just pull over here. It's going to be a bit tight here. We might have to wiggle it through. So if you don't hit the building, it'll be rock.
Start to roll, huh? Good anyway, thank you. All right.
With one massive obstacle behind him, Mark hits a precious stretch of bitumen. The Stewart Highway is the only sealed road through the middle of Australia, a vital lifeline between north and south, with trucks pounding it 24/7. And hot on Mark's heels, a fuel tanker in a hurry.
So we're going to hold our line. He doesn't want us going all over the road left and right. He wants us nice and straight.
There's only 2.5 metres of road to spare, the exact width of the truck. A few stone chips, but all clear. Mark is now leaving his home state of South Australia. But before he can go any further, he must clear a heavy vehicle checkpoint.
We've got to weigh every axle on this truck. Every measurement gets measured up. They've got to sign off the permit. And it all can be turned on its head, you know, just based on someone's interpretation of that permit, the way it's worded. This is the MVR weighbridge. This is our checkpoint.
If Mark's truck's not in order, he could be sidelined for days.
There's no way that you can avoid it because there's only one road that goes through the territory. And these things don't go bush.
Straight away, things aren't looking good. Another switch room from Mark's company is getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, just wondering what's going on.
It's your mate.
Which one?
The one we don't want.
Oh, f***ing sake. Let's go see what happens with this load. See what they can pick on. We even measured it all out based on your state's guidelines and...
So you reckon this complies with our state guidelines?
Yeah. They're trying to tell us it's the wrong trailer for the load. I just said, where's it show it in your specifications? They got no answer. We'll win our battle, but it could take friggin' weeks.
It's Mark's worst fear. On an urgent job for a demanding customer, he's now facing a very long delay.
The client's going to be shitty because they're going to say you haven't managed this properly.
Yeah, well, I'll have a look at
After a frustrating wait, the decision.
I won the battle and I won the war.
It's a massive relief. Losing this fight could have cost Mark dearly.
We had to unload the building, so we would have had to go onto the Tanami, delivered that, come back out, then pick this building up. So I could have been there for days while this all eventuated. Meanwhile, the directors at the company would have been having kittens.
But this win has come at a price. Mark's lost half a day out of his schedule.
We've got one more coming over, a white Corolla, and you're clear.
He's now due at the mine site, 400 kilometres away, in just over 2 days. That's possible on the bitumen,
Now the mental torture starts.
but mission impossible on this dirt. It's the infamous Tanami track.
These are just notoriously the worst corrugations in the country. They're not uniform, they sort of are all off skew and it just shakes the truck left and right and makes everything bounce.
In the switch room, Mark has $1.5 million worth of fragile circuitry he must deliver in working order. He's reduced to a crawl.
I was hoping for around about a 10k average, but at the minute I can't even get above 5 or 6. So now I've realised that we could actually walk there faster. The suspension and the steering linkages and everything is just copping an absolute pounding.
After 5 hours of agonisingly slow progress, Mark's getting worried.
We've sort of gone from our 2-day calculation to being as long as it would take to now possibly 2.5 to 3 days.
The gold mine waiting for the delivery is shutting down operations to install this switch room as soon as it arrives. Miss that deadline and it'll cost the mine site and Mark dearly.
We cannot miss this delivery date. It's now locked in.
The fight with corrugations has slowed them to a walking pace.
It's a war. It's a war against the corrugations. Oh.
But Mark's found a secret weapon.
Yes, we've hit the mother load. I've found like dozens. Look at these old raider blades. We're going to drag them along in front of the trailer wheels.
The grader blades are hung at the front of the trailer. The hope is they'll smooth the road.
Doing what we want. We're going along all right.
A grader and truck all in one. And it's nearly doubled his average speed from 8 to 15 kilometres an hour. Mark's deadline is back within reach. But then...
Apparently the road's closed from Uendamu to the Granite because they've had a fair bit of rain overnight.
Sounds like overnight they've had an absolute massive storm. There might be patches of the road up here that are just going to be impassable for weeks. We don't want to be stuck out here indefinitely. Shut down.
Tanami Road between Uendamu turnoff and Western Australian border flooding.
Flooding.
Road closed, flooding.
Oh dear.
This is our issue.
Oh shit.
That's just been building.
Well, it's just been building up. And look at this coming down here from Broome.
Yeah.
It's on the same path.
Yeah, that's by the time this bit clears, that bit's in.
Yeah. We're definitely not doing anything in the next couple of days, that's for sure.
I'll check.
Give you the hot tip if it's flooding.
This could be the last nail in the coffin for Mark's vital load.
This is we're probably in the worst case scenario we could possibly imagine, really. So if we get up there, at least we'll know where this rain belt's hit. We've then got a timeline.
Mark's made a tough decision. He's leaving his crew behind and launching a solo reconnaissance mission deep into the desert. He needs to see for himself the severity of the floods.
We're just seeing where the worst part is and go back and make a plan. Worst case scenario is a big wet comes through, and then we're right up Shit Creek. Yeah, road subject to flooding, well, that's exactly what that is. That's the only real major spot so far of water completely across the road. It's getting a little bit boggy there.
Then, a vital clue about the condition of the road ahead. A 4-trailer fuel tanker has made it through.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't be allowed to go unless the road's been open. We know it's open. I'm not going any further. Let's just turn around. We've got a small window because there's more rain coming, so we haven't got any time to sit around and wait. Now we're going to hurry up and get back and get cracking. There's a few boggy patches for a long way up, but by the time we get there, if there's no more rain, that should dry up.
Back to the grind of a very dry, rock-hard road.
Bouncing along, getting kicked, getting bumped. Yeah, now the mental torture starts. and I know we're 2.5 days away. You can't go any faster than 5.6.
It's frustration in motion. To make his delivery deadline, Mark needs to go faster. But do that, and he'll smash the switch room.
This is absolutely horrendous. You can't just let the building go bang, 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 because by the time it gets there, nothing will work.
A day. And night pass at a snail's pace. By the following afternoon, Mark's losing hope.
There is zero fat in our schedule. In fact, we are behind schedule, and we're never going to get it back.
Just one option remains to make up time.
You can see where the trucks are been driving right up on the shoulder of the road, just trying to get as far up and out of the corrugation as possible.
Driving on the soft shoulder may be faster, but it's a path fraught with danger.
Yeah, well, you got to be very careful when you run on the side of the road in this soft stuff, because it might feel sort of firm in one bit and the next minute it'll just grab hold of the steer and rip you off into it. And by the time you try and catch it, you're in too deep and you'll just get bonked.
The risk seems to be paying off.
At least there's no real corrugation up here, and so we're getting an extremely smooth ride and double the speed. Oh no. We're in a world of trouble. They got bugged. That's exactly what I was talking about. Rookie mistake there. The whole lot's bogged. It's plugged. 6 o'clock at night, just daydreaming. And the minute I felt it, it was too late.
Mark was trying to save time by driving along the soft shoulder of the road. Now it's costing more.
The time I was trying to gain, I would have now added to it, so.
Getting 50 tonnes of freight out of this bog will take a lot of grunt. Hopefully one stiff bar. And 600 more horsepower is enough.
Give me a little reverse.
Yep.
A short rollback to firm up the dirt.
Rightio, hold it there.
Now, the moment of truth.
Righto, Mark.
Yeah, mate. All coming on.
Looks like it's the bumpy ride home from here. So that's a lesson to learn.
Another hour wasted. But Mark knows he got off lightly.
If you really plug into those things and then you break through that top surface, then you can just be in a world of pain. There is no way any truck would be able to pull this thing out. It'd have to be dug out somehow. And probably a crane to unload the building.
The switch room is now one whole day behind schedule. Early next morning, the exhausted team are trying to find a way to improve the road and claw back time. They hope dragging these tyres underneath Mark's truck will smooth the way.
Because we're miles behind now. If we're meant to be there this morning, we're probably going to be there tonight.
On this job, running late means big money. Out of phone range, Mark rushes ahead to call his customers. They've planned an expensive mine site shutdown to install the switch room later today. Only problem, it won't be there.
I'm going to get phone service up the road to let them know what the hell's going on.
While Mark delivers the bad news, offsider Matt braves the corrugations in the truck.
We're not going to get there today to do the jack and pack, so he's going to have to cancel the shutdown, and hopefully they'll be able to organise it for tomorrow.
But this road isn't getting any better. For the entire morning, they've barely averaged a walking pace. The truck and trailer are taking a hammering. Then suddenly...
Stop! Holy shit, we're clear to leave now, mate.
The old trailer hasn't liked the dirt too much, and we've dropped a leg clean out the back of it.
A steering leg has been ripped clean off. For Mark's offsider, Matt, it's a waking nightmare.
Just Todd saying stop, and that was it.
All around, it's a trail of destruction. Fittings and hoses lie scattered. Air lines are cut. Brakes jammed on.
Just tape them so that the zip ties were zip tight closed, the airlines.
Not good at all. We have a vehicle coming in the distance. Here's to hoping it's our boss. Prognosis is extremely bad.
Yeah.
Extremely bad.
It's a bit like if you're in a motorbike accident and then you look and one part of your body's over there and you're over there. It's pretty much it. Not good.
While Mark's lost 4 tyres and a giant piece of undercarriage, his trailer should still be drivable.
Skull drag that over there, and that will then be the topic of Tanami conversation.
The immediate job is to clear the road. It might not be pretty, but it's effective. Airlines repaired and brakes unlocked, Mark's battered convoy can crawl on. More weight is now bearing down on his remaining wheels. Mark will have to be extra careful. A tall order on the Tanami in the wake of a storm.
We've got up to our first real bog hole.
This 3-ton car makes it look easy. Mark's 100-ton rig could have a harder time.
And brake traction, I haven't got in it. It's so greasy here, so it's just slipping. So we just need to put a shitload of weight to break through into the dry stuff.
His only hope is to shift the 50-ton load forward, using the trailer's hydraulics and putting more weight on the truck's drive tyres.
And that isn't happening either. Put more on. Lots more on.
Maximum weight. It's now or never.
That's better.
He's backed out. But this 50-ton building still needs to plough through.
A bit nervous on the entrance because she just was a bit greasy.
After a disastrous few hours, the switch room can roll on.
So after 260 kilometres, we're down to the last 10 kilometres of the trip.
But the Tanami isn't done with Mark yet.
Unfortunately, it's the worst 10 kilometres of the whole trip. She's going to give it final battle. It does not want this building to get there.
At last, a sight for sore eyes. The gold mine is only a few hundred metres away. Just past this quagmire.
Right before the turn-off, there's a great big bog hole. If we get bogged here, this is going to be embarrassing. Oh, don't you dare.
After 6 days of trucking torture, he's made it.
We are here. This is a joyous moment in every Tanami truck driver's life when they can flick the left indicator. That means the end.
It's been 2,000 kilometres of non-stop stress. Moving this heavy, fragile and urgent freight up a brutalising dirt track.
Just relief, because it's been quite a long, mentally taxing trip.
But now, Mark can take a load off.
Yibbida yibbida, that's all folks. Just to get a dead straight line.
In Adelaide, South Australia, heavy haulage expert Mark Cromwell knows a thing or two about pressure.
Hero or zero, that's how it works out. If you get there, you're a hero. If you don't, then everyone's pointing the finger at you.
The 43-year-old specialises in hauling massive freight with massive price tags to places beyond the reach of most normal trucks. But over the next 48 hours, Mark faces a whole new level of pressure.
We are under a very strict timeline to get this in and out and off.
He's about to move a giant 48-tonne electrical switch room.
We build them, load them, deliver them.
Across 2 states and through the heart of 2 of Australia's biggest cities.
Big load, it's got very sensitive stuff inside, so you don't want this thing bouncing on the truck.
The slightest problem moving it could ruin months of planning and cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Go over another 10 mil.
The $2 million building is needed to help run Melbourne's historic tram network.
If it goes right, it's a pat on the back. But if it goes wrong, then they just cop a lot of shit.
It's a monumental challenge, even for the best.
If you start seeing me run, you know something's going wrong.
Before Mark can make the trip,
Going to the shoe shop, get some new shoes.
he needs to be sure his truck's ready for the challenge. A new set of tyres will set him back a cool $8,000. With a tight schedule, he's keen to get the job done quickly.
Now, shoes up, all your loading time. We got to cross all the way back across town.
On a time-critical job, Mark can't afford any delays. The loading yard, where Mark's monster freight lies. The 48-tonne electrical switch room has been built as 2 separate units.
This is basically one building, but we've had to split it up to get it to fit in to the site that it's going to.
Mark will move the 5-metre wide main building, while second driver Brad hauls the other. The drivers are ready to load, but in the second unit, there's a problem. An air conditioner is still being installed.
We've only had yesterday and today to fit it, and then you've got to rewire it, then commission it, make sure it all works.
While the race is on to install the aircon, Mark must grapple with his own headache. getting the 34-tonne main building onto his 48-wheel trailer.
Yeah, we're going to get under there nice and square. Truck drivers have OCD tendencies, and if it's not square, it does your head in as you're driving down the road.
His main worry, the 8 hydraulic jacks supporting the switch room. Hit one of these, and millions of dollars and months of work could come crashing down. And the margin for error?
They're only about 3.6 metres apart, and the trailer's 3.4 metres, so we've only got about 100 mil either side.
With just centimetres to spare, the massive job's barely started. One slip now, and Mark and Brad will be finished.
Oh dear, straighten up now. You just don't want to hit the jack.
We're going to miss that, aren't we? What was that?
The front wheels touch that jack.
While it stayed upright, they'll have to start the millimetre precise loading job from scratch.
Just start poking the back a little bit to my side.
Hit another jack and the critical job could end in disaster before it's covered even a metre.
That should be enough. Straight wheels.
How are we looking at the back there? We're going to miss that, aren't we?
Finally,
550 on the knock.
millimetre perfect.
We're there.
One truck loaded, one to go. Mark's 9 a.m. departure time is still 14 hours away, giving him plenty of time to load the second switch room. Next morning, Mark and Brad are ready to load, but the second switch room isn't.
What have we got? Nearly 8:45 and we haven't got the other building finished just yet.
Electricians are still hard at work.
They got to label everything. There's thousands of wires in there.
Loading can't begin until they're finished. Missing his 9 a.m. deadline is a serious blow for Mark and the whole operation. But there's strict limits on when their oversized trucks are allowed on the road.
If he doesn't get out of here by 2 o'clock, he misses the curfew, because then at 3 o'clock he's not allowed to be in the city limits.
Miss their curfew, and any chance of making Melbourne in time will be gone.
Never goes to exact plan, because you're relying on others.
With fortunes and their futures on the line, all Mark and Brad can do is wait.
He's got 2 hours. 2 hours doesn't take long to go. Brad's running out of time. He doesn't get out of here by 2 o'clock. He misses the curfew. He'll be sitting here till 6 o'clock tonight.
It's an agonising wait for work to finish on the second part of the 48-tonne switch room.
Now it's past 1 o'clock and now the squeeze is on.
But then, a very welcome sight. The brand new building is ready.
Drop it. All right, square.
Yep. That's straight.
Good to come out.
At long last, the boys can roll out on the 730-kilometre run to Melbourne. But they're 5 hours behind schedule. Any more delays could be terminal. As they roll into Adelaide, the next challenge is 3 railway crossings. In oversized rigs, Mark and Brad aren't allowed to cross them without a rail escort.
You have to be escorted through the crossings, and they've got to do all the communication, just in case you get stuck on the train line.
If the escort's not at the crossing, the boys will be stranded.
You can do everything right, but people let you down.
At the first crossing, good news. Their escort vehicle's waiting.
Off we go.
1 crossing down, 2 to go. But at the next, there's a mystery delay, pushing Mark's schedule and his blood pressure.
You'd think he'd see us in the mirrors and then maybe get on the radio, and then we'd just be able to keep everything rolling. Oh my Lord. Oh, there we go. All right, are we?
There's one final crossing to go. But something's missing. The escort's nowhere to be found. Mark and Brad are stuck.
Yeah, I got nowhere to get off the road.
Adding to Mark's stress, his truck's 5 metres wide. It's blocking a major road.
This is going to take forever.
And rush hour's fast approaching.
Can you ring traffic control? The train people, because they're not here. How the does he not get here?
He's coming up behind you now, mate.
Finally, the boys can cross. At last, they can leave the city behind and hit the open road. The slow going through Adelaide has cost 2 more precious hours. And ahead, yet another headache is looming. The Murray River Bridge. Like the railway, Mark can't cross it without an escort.
We've got to figure out what time we're going to get to Murray Bridge to cross the river, because we've got to book a copper police escort across the bridge.
Only problem, the police may not be there when he arrives.
If someone steals a car, then that gets priority, and we could just be sitting there. Then the sun goes down, then we can't go anywhere, so we're stuck.
As an oversized truck, Mark must be off the road before dark. That's 3 hours away. If there's no officer waiting, Mark will lose even more precious driving time.
Just ring him up now and book it for 6:30.
Yeah, I'm looking for 6:30.
With his schedule already stretched to breaking point, the next couple of hours could be the difference between success and failure.
We booked them for 6:30. It's just when they get there.
As Mark approaches the bridge, there's news.
Yep, you're waiting for us.
Wow. That is just fantastic. This is the first time this has ever happened that we've actually had an officer waiting for us.
With help from the boys in blue, Mark's convoy can sail over Australia's longest river. But after a day of delays, he's badly behind schedule. Tomorrow, he must get back on track. Next morning, the Victorian border is a welcome sign. But with Melbourne still 440 kilometres away, the valuable job's running out of time.
If it doesn't happen tonight, yeah, everything falls over. So that's a $50,000 job or whatever for us. But, you know, there goes my Christmas bonus.
To make things tougher, another driving curfew is looming. It's a deadline Mark can't break.
Brad, you there?
Yeah, mate.
We have to be off the road at 4 p.m.
Is that on a weekend as well?
Yeah, that's the curfew. So it's 3:32 Melbourne time. We've got about half hour to go. So centimetre perfect.
If he's not at his stop in time,
we've got 36 kilometres to go.
Mark will be stuck going nowhere for a week.
And you can't like speed.
Leaving his and his company's reputation in tatters.
We can't afford any hold-ups now.
And right on cue.
It's starting to rain now. It's going to be a bit interesting.
With just minutes to go, 50 tonnes and millions of dollars of pressure rests on Mark's shoulders.
Is this the service centre, the one in a kilometre?
Yes, mate, that's it. There you go.
Well, we just made it.
While one major challenge is behind him, the next is monumental. In 9 hours' time, Mark and Brad are scheduled to take the switch room on the last leg of its journey into the beating heart of a city of 4.5 million people.
1 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night, anything could happen.
It's the only time the massive load is allowed on cramped city streets. But as they prep the trucks to roll out, trouble's rolling in.
Looking at those trees, though, that might be a bit windy for the cranes, I think.
If bad weather hits, it could blow away any chance of craning the massive switch room off their trucks, leaving the $50,000 job facing huge delays.
Got that feeling we could be parked here for a week.
As night falls, weather worries are building.
I know, I want to bring up one now, but it's going to get canned.
And at the job site, radio silence.
No dance, man.
One of the biggest runs of his career is less than an hour away. But with no word if it's no go, Mark faces one of his biggest failures. The whole job hangs on one phone call.
Alright. No worries. Yep, alright. Rightio, show's on. Yep, we're going.
Channel 70, Mark.
Getting the green light, Mark and Brad can roll out on the high-pressure run.
Getting nervous. Just about to head into town.
Ahead is a maze of tight streets, city traffic and Saturday night revellers. But Mark's biggest concern is overhead. Tram lines crisscross the city centre. Take one of these down and Melbourne's transport network could be crippled.
Bit nervous, because we're right near the power wires.
A crew's been booked to lift the tram lines clear. But as the boys close on the city, Mark's phone is silent.
No one's rung me. If we get there, they're not there. We're at a point of no return. Can't turn around, so.
Up ahead, he has another low-hanging headache to deal with.
I don't know how I'm going to be with these trees.
The 5-metre tall load's in danger of tearing through a forest of tree-lined streets.
Yeah, we're going really slow here, mate, because of these trees.
You got low trees all the way down.
To protect the switch room, Mark and Brad must go slow. But with a 6 a.m. curfew, every minute lost is precious. As they inch towards the city, there's still no response from the tram crew. Mark's worried he'll soon reach the point of no return.
So where's their last spot if the trammies aren't there?
It's now impossible to turn the massive trucks around.
Along here you've got nowhere really.
And to make matters worse,
Skid rail's gone.
the trees have torn off a guardrail.
All that way, 1 kilometre to go, and there's a skid rail.
Another hit could wreck the $2 million switch room. But go any slower, and Mark will miss his curfew. He must choose, risk his load or his deadline.
This one's nice and low.
Oh no, I'm gonna look, it's gonna tear everything off.
If he's to deliver, he'll have to risk it and push on.
Bloody hell. Oh, I'm gonna lose everything once I go through here.
I'll just grab that rope.
Yeah.
Finally, the trees are behind him. And ahead, good news.
And the tram guys are here.
Oh, thank God.
With the tram crew in place, Mark's ready for the next challenge, avoiding the low-hanging cables that power the city's tram network.
This is gonna be epic.
The whole network's been shut down for Mark and Brad.
The lines have been de-energised, but we don't want to hit them.
And adding to the pressure,
When I spoke to them, I said it was the last time you had a load down here, and they just said, no, we've never had a load this high down here. Rightio, I'm going.
a single mistake could cripple the city's tram network. Mark needs to keep one eye on the tram crew and the other on his front pilot.
Where's my front pilot going? Am I going left here?
Mark's missed the turn.
So you're going left, mate?
I thought I was going straight.
With obstacles in front and behind, and in a 25-metre long truck, Mark's stuck in no man's land.
You got another metre, Mark, to put it in. Hold on, there.
In a rig twice the length of a bus, it's a manoeuvre that will test his skills to the limit.
Stuff all on that railing. You're going straight back, like that. Careful, careful, slowly. Get rolling with it. Put on the fleet.
Right up here.
No, you're right. Watch your back there, Matty.
That was pretty intense, really. Some people can't do a three-point turn in a car, let alone a load like that. Under that sort of pressure, it's pretty impressive, really.
Now the boys face the biggest challenge of their run, navigating beneath overhead tram lines.
We're not in Kansas, Toto, that's for sure.
A single error now could take out a network that carries nearly 500,000 people a day.
How close am I getting to those lines?
So the switch room can pass under the power lines, a team of electricians must raise them one by one. But the weather's turning ugly, and progress is painfully slow.
Probably taken us half an hour to go 500 metres.
The network's due to go back online in just 2 hours' time.
I'm not going to knock them out of their perch, am I? On the left.
About 4 inches.
There's just centimetres of clearance. The whole team can't afford the slightest miscalculation.
Mark, if you can go a bit more to your left, that'd be good.
As they pass under the cables, it's critical Mark and Brad stay together.
I'm coming around too, Greg.
Mark depends on Brad's expert eyes to guide him. He'll need him when they unload.
You got that tail swing?
Yeah, plenty on the tail swing.
But at the next intersection,
Mark's through, but I'm stuck in the intersection of William and Latrobe.
Brad's too tall to pass under the lines.
I can only bring it down about 50 mil, mate.
He'll have to wait for extra help, costing Mark his wingman.
Yeah, they're going to leave me parked here, run you down, and then come back with the 2 trucks to do me. I don't know how that's going to affect you. Get that building back in.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
With 2 hours till deadline, Mark's running out of time. Now, he'll have to go it alone. As Mark reaches the tricky drop-off, he'll have to manoeuvre his 25-metre-long rig under a giant crane without his experienced guide.
Yeah, I'm going to sort of go on a slight dank and I might just make it.
With city traffic halted and his curfew looming, the pressure is on.
You just watch that left, mate.
In the pouring rain, Mark needs total concentration. Above him are heritage-listed trees he mustn't damage. Below, a wet, slippery road.
My wheel's straight.
Put one of his 48 tyres in the wrong place and months of work and millions of dollars could be ruined.
If that van wasn't in the way, I just would have pulled all the way up there and just gone straight back.
Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Yeah, hook it around now. Clear it. Careful, careful, slowly. Stop there.
Mark's done it. Just as Brad arrives.
Finally made it. Looks like he's unloaded. Lucky Mark.
Keep it going.
Time for Mark to be wingman.
Yeah, that'll do.
With the second unit delivered, the boys can finally relax.
20 past 4 and we got it here in the end. We just had to split up and change the plan a little bit and on the run. Everyone just jumped in and it's there. Pretty excited now. Been a good trip.
Our job's done. Feeling good.
It's dawn, deep in the South Australian outback.
Get up and we have a bit of a pre-check. Yeah, make sure we can go out there and do the job.
Heavy haulage expert Cameron Smith is checking and rechecking his gear.
All the tyres look like they should make it.
The 40-year-old has been hauling oversized loads for 15 years.
Pretty exciting job. That's what we do every day.
Cameron's specialty? Mine site plant relocations.
Pick up machines, take them from one side of Australia to the other.
Today, Cameron's task is to truck this.
It's approximately 130-tonne dump truck, 8 metres wide and 6.5 metres high, so we've got a few issues with power lines.
And that's just the start of it. Wider than 4 family cars and weighing more than a house, this $3 million truck was never built for the open road.
We don't want to get stuck, because if we get stuck, we'll never get out.
The first challenge is to load the mega truck onto the back of Cameron's own truck.
So hopefully we can get into the mine, get it loaded fairly quick and beat the heat.
The Lee Creek coal mine shut down 3 months ago.
We'll head in and hopefully all goes smoothly.
To support the mammoth load, he needs to widen his trailer to 4.5 metres, nearly as far as it will go. Now to reverse the dump truck on.
Turn around so we can back it on.
With thousands of kilometres of brutal road ahead, the load needs to be perfectly balanced.
Just a slow process to try and get it right the first time. Be here all day if I don't line it up right.
But going slow isn't an option.
Let's have a look.
This truck needs to be in Perth in exactly 6 days. On a Sunday. That's the only day Cameron can get this monster through the city. Miss that deadline and he'll be grounded for a week, costing his company thousands of dollars.
Yeah, we just got to move the truck over a little bit this way, about 3 inches. We'll take him off again and try again. We just about got it this time, so go back about another metre and then we'll have a look. All right, that will do. All in all, a good result, I think.
With a series of steep hills on the route ahead, securing the load well is essential. All that's left is to remove the 2 massive steer tyres. At 21 tonnes, each tyre weighs more than 2 elephants. Cameron's finally loaded.
You right to go, Liz?
Yeah, mate, yeah.
Helping him on the long haul west, Les Russell in the push truck.
At the moment, we're probably 60% of maximum power. As you can appreciate, in the hills, it'll work a bit harder.
Les's truck provides extra traction and horsepower, essential with a rig that is 44 metres long and weighs close to 200 tonnes. To safely deliver this behemoth, cooperation between the 2 drivers is crucial.
It's all a matter of having confidence in the bloke that's up in front. He's in control of the whole lot. Like if I decided I wanted to stop, I couldn't stop. I've got to rely on Cameron up in front.
And now, their first test.
Floodway down here, it's got a little bit of a flow going through it.
We've got a bit of water over the road up here.
Heavy overnight rain has left a trail of destruction.
Rubbish all over the road.
Yeah, right, mate.
Yeah, you'll have to take her easy coming through this one.
Looks like there's a fair bit of water on the road and rubble as well.
There's no turning this beast around. The only way through is forward.
A lot of tree debris and stuff all over the road, so we just take it easy. You don't know what you're sort of going to run over.
The slightest damage to this load could be a very expensive exercise. The dump truck on the back is worth $3 million, and Cameron's trailer another 1.1 mil.
Yeah, you sort of might bend a rim or do a tyre or something like that. It's the last thing we need.
Through, but their wet weather troubles are far from finished.
It looks like it might start to rain. It's, I don't know, it's a bit threatening. A couple of drops on the windscreen. It's not a good sign by the look of it. We're just climbing this hill. I'm just A little bit worried about the wet weather and brake and traction. The last thing I want is to brake traction halfway up this hill.
If Cameron's wheels start spinning, he'll quickly grind to a halt. With the amount of weight behind him, getting moving again would be nearly impossible.
I don't think we'd take off in the wet. We'd have to roll back down and transfer some weight further forward and try again.
The dump truck convoy is now approaching the town of Port Augusta. At 8 metres wide and over 6 metres high, driving through town isn't an option.
Make our way up to the dirt. Hopefully the dirt's all dried out.
A 30-kilometre dirt road bypass is their only way forward.
Yeah, if we got bogged, it'd be a bit of a nightmare, really. You know, if it took a couple of days to dry out, you'd have to sit that out and wait, and then try and pull yourself out with a grader.
But now, another hill. It may not be wet, but getting traction on this climb could still be a problem.
It does look like it's got loose gravel all over it, mate. Starting the wheel spin already. Can you give us any more, mate? Liz got enough momentum to help me out a bit, maybe. Fingers crossed. Yeah, mate, we're up the top, so.
After slow going, Cameron's looking to make up time. He needs to be in Perth in 5 days' time for a scheduled road closure to get his giant load into the city.
If we don't catch it up, we won't make the Sunday curfew, and then we have to wait until the following Sunday.
But now, another dirt bypass is approaching, and news from the pilot isn't good.
We might have to pull you up on that little pad on the left-hand side before we go to the turn-off.
Yeah, right. The dirt road that we've got to go on just up here, the council have said it's too wet for us to cross at this stage. Yeah, this could cause us some trouble. So we're just going to jump in the pilot car and we're going to have a look for ourselves and see how wet this is. This is normally where it gets soft here, just in this little bit of a dip here, normally where it's all soft. So if we get a soft spot and we can't get through, we will get bogged, but they just asked us to come and have a look. We've come and had a look and we think we can get through it, so as long as there's no other soft spots further up the track.
Cameron's backing himself to get through. If he's got it wrong, his deadline is done.
It looked all right, but the water's sort of been laying there. We might need to give it a bit to get through it. A little bit soft there, Les.
Back on the safety of the bitumen, but now an approaching state border. It's a big inspection point for vehicles driving west, and the end of the line for Cameron's push truck.
It's only through South Australia that we need the second truck hooked on. I'm sort of on my own then.
The fate of this journey now rests squarely on Cameron.
I'm just going to disconnect Les and Les can be on his way back home.
His first test, passing this inspection.
Got to give them a bit of paper saying that I've got no fruit and veg and no dirt and all that's on the machine. They'll have a quick look and they should be all happy. There you go. Good, thanks.
Anything in your cab today? Any produce, honey, apple box, banana box, no plants, no pots, Alex?
All clear in the food department. But after the dirt bypasses, the truck is carrying a thick coat of dust.
It's Lee Creek coal mine.
Coal mine.
Yep. She's going to have a look at it and see what she reckons. She's just called over someone else to have another look at it, so there must be concern at something. So
The inspection isn't going as he hoped.
where we brushed a couple of trees earlier, they're not happy, they send you to a quarantine checkpoint to get the machine washed, which could take a day and a half or so. If they delay us, it's not good because we won't make it in on Sunday. Yep.
It's a nervous wait.
See what she reckons. We're all good to go. She's happy with that. We're on our way.
1,400 kilometres still stand between Cameron and his destination.
If we don't get in by Sunday, it means we have to wait a full week until the following Sunday to go back in.
But with a load 1 metre wider than the entire road, he can't push too hard.
We're just coming up to Majura Pass, which is a climb up out of the basin.
Up ahead, a steep hill to pull him back even more.
This is where it becomes a bit trickier.
With 130 tonnes to drag single-handedly,
we'll just crawl up the hill. You're probably at about 5 to 10 k's an hour.
It's a long, slow climb.
We're good to the top of the pass.
Lose traction or miss a gear,
So we're in second gear there, about 10 k's an hour.
and it would be near impossible to get moving again.
If something went wrong, it'd be a disaster, I think. Made it.
Over the summit, Cameron's keen to see how his 80-wheel trailer is holding up.
Let's get out and check the tyres. Hopefully everything's good and we can just keep rolling. Can't afford to really lose too much time. That's not a good sound. Oh, I'm precious. We better change that so we can keep going. Bit of luck we don't lose too much daylight. It might mean we can't make the parking bay we need to make.
Cameron's not allowed to travel at night. His overnight rest stops have all been planned ahead. Fall short of his next one, and finding a parking spot for this massive load could be an impossible task.
Better get into it.
The tyre change goes smoothly, but even an hour has taken a toll.
We pulled up probably 150 k's short of where we needed to be. Lose that sort of time each day could make it hard for us to get in on that Sunday.
Cameron's got 1,200 kilometres to cover in just 48 hours. A smooth run today is critical.
Yeah, good to go, Cam. 8 metre oversized load. Westbound. Oh no, we're all out.
Start of the dirt road to see what we're in for.
It's a 150-kilometre bypass.
With it being dirt, it sort of adds a fair bit more time.
And making things harder, a series of challenging climbs.
We come up a fairly steep jump up. Hopefully we get up.
With 130 tonnes, pulling him backwards, Cameron's biggest worry is losing traction.
Hope that this one hasn't got loose gravel or corrugation, otherwise we might not get up. If you're going to break traction, you're going to break it at the worst possible point, which will be right on the peak. Try and keep the revs up. Bit of corrugation here, which can be a little bit of a drama. Probably only halfway up. Starting to slip. Fingers crossed we make it.
Uh-oh. He's losing speed.
It's not looking good. No.
And now, he's losing grip.
We will spin it. I'll just have to come back. Bit of a shame, we're about 3/4 of the way up there.
His drive tyres have lost traction on the loose gravel. He can't go any further forward.
So yeah, unfortunately we have to roll back down.
The plan is to get another run-up. But reversing an 8-metre wide load over hundreds of metres is a tricky manoeuvre.
I can't sort of see, so I'm relying on someone else to try and keep us in the middle of the road there, mate. Yeah, let's just see how we go here.
To stand a chance this time, Cameron needs to move the load forward.
So I'll just lower this suspension down. I'll just transfer some weight.
More weight over his truck's drive tyres should mean more traction.
All right, we'll try that. Fingers crossed this time. Probably about 30 metres off where I got stuck, so this is a crucial part. Would have earned a beer for the day if we get through this.
Cameron is now moving away from the outback and into farmland. With every passing kilometre, the trees are getting bigger, creating a bigger hazard for his load.
Just coming up to some overhead trees, so hopefully we don't hit them.
With a $3 million price tag, this is one load you don't want to damage.
We've got to watch the fire suppression system on the right-hand side up the top there, because if we break one of them hoses off, we'll have foam and stuff going everywhere. It's probably about a foot diameter tree branch there that will break things. Yeah, I'll just crawl up to it, mate. Just missed. I wouldn't have liked to have my finger in there.
Cameron's deadline is now within his grasp. But as he gets closer to Perth, the temperature outside is soaring.
It's 43 degrees, so the bitumen's probably 60 or something.
And now, one of the steepest hills of his run.
Just broken traction on the bitumen. Being that odd a day, starting to rip the bitumen up.
The road is melted.
I'll have to come back a bit, mate.
His only option is to drop back and try again. But with his tyres now covered in wet tar and the road a mess, this attempt will be even harder. He needs a miracle, or at least a good Samaritan. A fellow trucker offers him another set of wheels to help pull him up.
Got a bloke stop and gives a hand.
Yeah, we're nearly at the top now, mate.
Thanks very much, mate.
No worries, mate.
Never underestimate a freightliner.
With one eye on the sizzling bitumen,
We'll be all right up this hill.
Cameron's closing in on Perth and his deadline. Tomorrow is Sunday, the only day of the week he's allowed to enter the city. But the heat isn't done with him yet.
They put that curfew on at 10:30 this morning.
Yep.
After weeks of sweltering temperatures, bushfires are a constant threat.
Bad news there that the power blokes now have just told me that total fire ban's kicked in for this region.
The fire ban prevents any activities that could set off a bushfire, including lifting power lines.
We can't deliver the machine, we're only 95 k's out.
With hundreds of low wires in his path, Cameron's stranded until the fire ban is lifted.
It's sort of devastating for me to drag the machine from one side of the country to the other, and we can't deliver the machine. We have to wait till next Sunday to travel in Perth.
Cameron's marooned here for at least another week.
We've been parked in this beautiful parking bay here since last Saturday. Most of the week's been 44. We've had temperatures up at 46 degrees. Hopefully tomorrow's not another total fire ban, otherwise we're stuck here for another week, so I don't know whether I could handle that.
Next morning, good news, the ban has been lifted.
This morning's looking all right, weather-wise. Be good to get going.
If the temperature climbs too high, the ban could be put back in place. He needs to make this delivery fast.
On the road.
Yeah, we've just got a couple of wires down here that we've got to lift, so there we go. I'll just go over to the right.
Yeah, you cleared that one.
Just got to do the 6 k's now to be under the power lines. We've got to do 10 k's now over bridges. Everything adds up to a long day.
And now, the reason for the Sunday deadline. Closing down the Tonkin Highway, one of Perth's biggest arteries.
This time of the day, the Tonkin Highway is fairly busy with traffic.
Yeah, you guys can move up here if you want.
Pilots have just given me the word that they've got it blocked, so major highway being 100 k, you don't want any accidents. Yeah, wheels on, gas up the struts, and should be able to roll her off.
After 2 weeks and 2,600 hard kilometres, these are the last 30 metres of a truly mammoth job. Cameron's mission is complete.
Finally unloaded the machine and all worked out all right in the end. Go to the next job. Hopefully there's no total fire ban.
In New South Wales, on the New England tablelands, a farm is under construction. But this is no ordinary farm. Growing out of the landscape, one of the biggest energy projects ever built in Australia. The $400 million White Rock Wind Farm.
Lock this one in first.
These are the largest turbines ever trucked in this country.
They're all large items. There's probably 10 to 11 truckloads per wind turbine, and there's 70 turbines in this project.
Adding up to a staggering 700 gigantic loads.
Front right.
Operations manager Mark Shiberis has moved wind farms before, but never on this scale.
A ship will come in with probably 10 complete turbines. Now we work 2 shifts, 18-hour days, 20-hour days, to unload them into the ground, then we just reload them out of here.
At 511 kilometres, it's the furthest a wind farm has ever been transported in Australia.
A job like this is probably 12 months in planning, permits, council permission, just to make sure we can actually get the items to the site. Our longest item is our blade, which is 60 metres. Our blades go out at 1 o'clock 3 days a week.
Tonight, Paul Cunningham, also known as Blinky, will be the front trucker in a convoy of 2 blades.
This load's done with 47 and 48. 47 and 48 out of 210. Oh, we're getting there slowly.
He can laugh now, but a serious drive awaits. Blinky's rig is nearly as long as an A380 Airbus, turning everyday streets into every trucker's nightmare. Worth over $100,000, the slightest knock could cost serious money.
It's a dicey job for everybody, but if you're on your game and you've got it planned, and everything should work out. You're going to always have the odd problem that you can't do much about.
1 a.m. The only time it's legal to move a load this big.
You there, are you, Chris?
Yeah, mate, ready when you are.
Righto, anyway.
Time for Blinky and his 6 vehicle support crew to step up.
Got a pilot right out the front, 2 police cars, the pilot's just in front of me. I've got a steerer and another pilot behind the load. The steerer's a pilot, but he just sits behind us and guides us around the corners.
Blinky's steerer and second set of eyes is 22-year-old Chris Parnell.
I'll steer it right a little bit, Blink.
It's a crucial partnership.
Yeah, a bit more right.
With a 70-metre rig between them,
Yeah, hold the steering there.
the smallest miscommunication
Yeah, you can steer him left a little bit maybe, just get off the ladder.
could have massive repercussions. With a 60-metre load, to stay legal, he needs to be past the next major town before 6 a.m.
Got to be through Tamworth by 6 o'clock. Otherwise, you've got to wait till after peak hour.
Miss that curfew and he'll be grounded for the entire morning, delaying work at the wind farm. He's got 3 hours to drive 200 kilometres.
You've just lost a strap.
At this pace, it's going to be tight.
One of the straps that come off the tyres on the back of the trailer. Just going to strap them back on. Must have just rubbed through a bit and broke.
Hitting a section of rough road, steerer Chris wants to check the problem strap.
Yeah, the back set. Top one's come off. The bottom one.
Oh, mate, I'll get at the top of the hill here and I'll throw a chain over them. This bloody road's just so rough.
It's another costly delay on a schedule starting to blow out.
Sick of this shit.
And now Blinky's crew have found another problem.
Change the tyre, left hand side.
Oh, shit. You shit me or what? Thank you, girls and ball boys. Thank you for that.
No worries, Link.
No further delays required. That's something I didn't need changing a flat tyre this time of morning. Every delay costs you time.
We're going to be pushing for gas here today, aren't we, Blink?
Yeah, mate, yeah. It's 5:25, about 15 k's out of Tamworth. A little bit behind time because we had to change the tyre.
They've reached the edge of town.
Circus is coming to Tamworth.
Now to make it through.
Yeah, you just want to go straight down, Craig, and go down and get them signs out down the bottom, mate.
The 6 a.m. curfew is just 15 minutes away.
He's got to move a sign, he might won't be a second.
And now he's forced to do the legwork himself. Valuable minutes are ticking away.
Yeah, all down off the island, mate.
Righto.
Miss his curfew and he'll have to park up through peak hour and then face heavy daytime traffic.
Wait till after peak hours, a nightmare trying to get through because there's that much traffic on the road. It's bad enough at 6 o'clock in the morning. This is the worst one in Tamworth, this one. The islands are about 6 inches high. They're actually higher than normal gutters.
Alright mate, hard left.
That's our last roundabout in Tamworth. And stopping. Right on 6 o'clock. We're here on time, so we can't get ourselves into trouble.
A quick breather, and Blinky keeps pushing north.
Last roundabout before we get to Glen Innes.
Blinky's now just 23 kilometres from his destination. Only 2 turns remain, but they're the toughest of the trip.
The first one's very tight. The only thing on every corner up here is the just the blade on the telegraph pole, about 1/2 metre clearance. It's on the tip of the blade.
To stand a chance of making it, steerer Chris needs to be on the ground. Hemmed in by homes and power poles, one wrong move could devastate this neighbourhood.
Bloody pain in the arse having that little step there, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, a bit more right, mate. Just slow it down. Yeah, right, mate.
You go hard left now. Yeah, must have rocked his pole. Going to steer hard right. Yeah, right away, hard left now. Right, just there it out, mate. Just make it around the corner, looks good.
Safely through, but Blinky's not taking all the credit.
It's a joint venture thing, you know. Them blokes down the back there get it wrong, I get it wrong, but young Chris has been steering me now for 2 months. Seem to be doing all right together now. The circus is leaving Glen Innes.
Blinky is now within striking distance of the wind farm.
You've got a few up now.
Yeah, thanks Blinky, thanks ladies and gents, we'll see you next run.
Righto, bye-bye.
One big hurdle remains.
Still got to get up the pad yet.
The narrow, steep and winding dirt road to site.
There's still another 10 k's yet.
To help him up, a tow truck is ready.
Just cruise up there in front of us, mate, and see how we go. When we need it, we'll hook it on.
But Blinky's backing himself to make it up on his own.
When it's wet with the change of the camber of the road, that's our main issue up this haul road. You don't want to go over the side. You're going a long way down.
2 to 1.
This is our pad. Use these 2 big yellow machines and they'll unload it for us. We have reached our destination.
It's another mission accomplished for Blinky, and one step closer to completing a massive job. But back at the port, the gigantic components are piling up.
So yeah, so the towers are the heaviest things. Yeah, these weigh about 60 tonne. It's the longest tower. This is what they call the top tower, so it sits on the top of everything.
The next task for these truckers,
the last one's as important as the first one,
will be even bigger. The man for this mammoth job is 31-year-old driver Mick Brett.
Young Mick started with us in a smaller truck and just worked his way up into doing the bigger stuff.
But first, Mark and Mick have to secure the awkward load.
Just lines up on that cradle.
With a customised 2-part trailer.
and then that crane will drop it down.
Once Mick lines up at the front, 12 massive bolts will fuse tower and trailer, with only a 5mm margin for error.
If we don't get it right, it just makes it very difficult for us to load. Righto, lock it. Put the 5 bolts in the front and the front's done then.
I just put this thing on to stop the bounce in the front of the trailer.
And this one's loaded.
To avoid causing problems for local traffic, Mick is leaving at 3 a.m. Clear communication with his 2 pilots will be crucial.
When we get to that corner, the left-hand bend, whoever's out in front, just go the roundabout and stop them.
We're talking about the bypass?
No. All good to go. Everyone ready?
It's a clear run on the freeway. But as Mick enters a small country town, a different story.
This is the underpass just around this left-hand bend. We got to crawl under it. It's a bit of a tight fit.
All good, Mick.
With just 10 centimetres of clearance, he must judge his approach perfectly.
Get close to that curve.
Left or right?
On the right, mate.
Now he's inside the pylons. It's too late to adjust his line.
This is a tight fit.
Out of the night and into the cold light of more struggle. Crossing the Great Dividing Range is a punishing climb.
The next two are a little bit steeper. The last little pinch now, which is the worst bit.
Mick is inching upwards where others have failed.
Made it.
But not unscathed. Mick's custom rig has 40 tyres to take the 65-tonne load.
That's not good.
And the first climb of the day has destroyed 2 of them.
The inside one's flat too. This outside one's got the big bubble in it.
Changing them on this one-of-a-kind trailer will be a headache.
The way the trailer is, it's just a pain in the ass to jack up.
Especially with the jack sinking into the damp ground.
I'll drive it forward up onto this box of wood.
With a plate under the jack, Mick can finally start shifting 65 tonnes.
It's always a big deal if you lose the set of wheels. We're done. If I blow another one, I'm not going to be happy.
Rolling, but Mick's now out of spares, and the steepest hill is still to come. To make it up, Mick will need his tyres to hold out, and an extra 500 horsepower.
We'll just pull up here and hook up, and he'll give us a pull up. Front trucks are pulling. Try and keep the revs up and keep the drawbar straight. Make sure both of us are still moving pretty quickly.
Almost up. But then, an unwelcome sight.
One of the ones we put on, blew out.
More busted rubber.
Sucks it was the same one we've already changed. It's just going to put us back.
Mick's out of spares and in big trouble.
I'd used 2 spares. I changed them just the other side of Tamworth, and one of the ones I put on is blown out.
With a heavy 65-ton load, he can't move without every tyre intact, forcing him to wait for replacements to arrive. At last, they can make the change. Mick needs to get a move on.
Finally on our way after 2.5 hours. 174 k's to go. It's all uphill from here.
Bad weather can only slow him down more.
There's a lot of water on the road. We're just floating across puddles pretty much, trying to hold it back without wearing your brakes out and without skidding down the hill. Once it starts skidding, there's a good chance we won't stop it skidding. He's not waiting. Hey mate, you're gonna be my guest. See the steam and all that and the mist coming off the road. So it's drying out. It's been a lot worse.
His destination, White Rock Wind Farm, is in sight.
How far to go now? Just pulling into sight.
After 500 kilometres, all that stands between Mick and his delivery is a 4-kilometre access road.
We're going to give this a crack. I'm still spinning, I'm barely moving. F***ing spun out on the f***ing way up to the main compound.
So near, yet so far.
F***ing spun out on the f***ing way up to the main compound. It is just an animal sometimes.
Made it to flat ground. But Mick's drop-off is still higher up the hill. Time for an Army veteran to step in. An ex-military truck with the necessary firepower.
Don't fucking scratch it. We're going up to the pad. Without this, we couldn't deliver to most of the pads on the wind farm. Oh, we both picked the same gear, same as what Mickey and me were doing before. Luke's back there steering me, just giving me a guide. Wheels are spinning a little bit, but that's just because I'm pushing him. Nice little hill.
Back up and you can take the weight down in.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, we're just going to park down here at one of these ones.
Turbine number 8 fully delivered. Only 62 more to go. For Mick, dozens of runs lie ahead.
That's it, we've made it. Better now, time for a beer.
But for now, it's a job well done.